Good night. Welcome to Conversation with Rickford Burke. I hope you're having a good Sunday. Getting a feedback there. I think I fixed that. Welcome to Conversation with Rickford Burke. Text me, let me know where you're watching from. Share the link, everybody. Straight out to Nigeria. This was sent for me straight from Nigeria. Black and proud. Emancipation is coming up, everybody. I hope you guys plan to go to the national park to enjoy Morgan heritage, enjoy the artist from Ghana. I forgot his name. I'll get it before the end of the program tonight. Share the link, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. It has been hot here in the United States. Hot, hot, hot. Share the link, everybody. Get into all your Guyanese groups and share the link on Twitter, on WhatsApp, via email, Messenger, Facebook, wherever. Everybody, take some time off. Share the link. And if you're watching this program right now, but you have not subscribed to my YouTube page. Why do I feel like I'm twisted? Can you straighten the camera? I don't know. Am I twisted? Or is because how I am? I don't know. It looks twisted to me in the monitor. Yeah. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube page, subscribe now. Go right to YouTube right now. Let's pause. Go to my YouTube page and subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook and you haven't followed, you're not following or you haven't liked my page, any of the pages, do that right now. Like and follow me. I'm gonna pause again. Share the link, everybody. Share the link. Share the link, everybody. Share the link, share the link, share the link. I'm giving you some time to share the link. Text me, let me know where you're watching from. All right, let me read some comments in the meantime. Good afternoon, Miss Watson. Good afternoon, Hazel Rankin. Good afternoon, Brenda Casey. Good afternoon, Brenda Deborah Small. Good evening, rather. Desiree Richardson, Stephanie Pearson. Share the link, everybody. Share the link, share the link. Yonet Elias. Norma Boyce. Good evening, Norma. Guyana live in the house. Okay. Shalon Joseph, good evening. Good evening, Karen. That just flew across. Sandra Handover, good evening. Neville, Brooklyn, good evening. Waving, 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 Miss Thomas. I see you, I see you. Troy Fraser, good evening. Matthew Dennison, good evening. Text me, let me know where you are from. Georgia in the house. Georgia, Georgia, Georgia. Is that Atlanta, Decatur, where? Good night, everybody. Text me, let me know again where you're watching from. I'm seeing your comments. Share the link, everybody. Share the link, share the link. Roxanne Jones, good evening. Yolanda Charles, good evening. Yolanda, where are you watching from? Miss Zephyr, good evening. Peace and power. Big up. Zamunda. Share the link, everybody. Bartica, where's Bartica? I'm seeing people from everywhere. Canada, Suriname, Virgin Eugene, Ontario, Canada, Cleveland, Ohio. Hi, Cheryl Andrews. Big up Cheryl Andrews, Cleveland, Ohio. Deborah Thomas, Guyana. Is that Buchanan? Georgia, yes. I flunked. By the way, I used to teach at Ivy School as a people teacher. And like I said in the post the other day, our finale was not a student at that school. I was reminded, right, at the Amstel Day by some young men that I was actually at the same school with them. And I turned back and I started teaching at the same school and taught them. That has nothing to do with me. That says a lot about the students, right? Okay, no, let me leave that alone. All right, share the link, everybody. Come on, share the link, 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 share the link. I'm having fun with these comments. Watching from Florida. Keith Anthony Ben. Keith, that sounds like a judge. Justice Keith Anthony Ben. Hail up, Keith. Miss Thomas, share the link. David O'Brien, to Mary, big up to Mary. Guyana, all right, I get that. Dawn, Gloria Wilson, good night. Cheryl Mulrain, good night, Cheryl. Golden Grove, Mr. King, big up Golden Grove. France, wow, Steve Ross, France. Mr. Ross, good night. What time is it there in Paris right now, Steve? Sandra Facey, Brooklyn, Trinidad and Tobago. Deborah, Guyana. Queens in the house. I want to see upstate Albany. I know I have some fans upstate Albany. Lorraine Barrington, where are you watching from? The Bahamas in the house, Queens in the house. Good night. Share the link, everybody. Keep sharing the link. Keep sharing the link. Denise Daniels, DD, GY. Annandale, big up Annandale. Cheryl Jeffrey, where are you watching from? BV. Mr. Musa. Good evening, sir. Watching from Harlem, New York. Machu. Okay, I need to see Bartica. I need to see Daniel's Tongue. I need to see Rose Hall. I need to see Liverpool, Lancaster. Come on. West Coast Babis. Lovelas. Hope Tongue. Bella Drum. The people straight out of Bella Drum. Antigua and Barbuda. Good night, Cheryl Thomas. Colorado in the house. Colorado, watching from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. All right. Linden in the house. Keep sharing the link, everybody. We're going to see. Hello, Mary. Eden. Yes, I know that, Mary. Pink, who's that? Hold on. Who's that? Eula Rubens? Okay, Eula, I see you. Good night. Eric Cumberbatch, where are you watching from? East Bank, Demerara, who's at? Brooklyn. Shelly Grandison, good night. Suriname in the house, good night. Okay, Mr. Vander Stoop, I come in. East Bank, Demerara, Ontario, Canada. Where's Bartica? Judith David, come on. Mr. Marshall. Bartica people. Let me see. So when I see somebody from Bartica, I'm gonna start. I need to see somebody from Bartica. Mahaika. All right, Mahaika representing Maikoni. My father's from Maikoni. Who from Maikoni in the house? Queens, New York. Avis. Marine Philly. Neil Bascom. Who's this? It's Goring. Good night. Kirk Caesar. Diamond. Diamond in the house. Mike Coney. All right, Mike Coney, I got you. Yes, Troy Cumberbatch. That's a Mike Coney name. I know the Cumberbatch from Mike Coney. I know that's a name. Actually, right, Troy, tell me. I don't know. The Cumberbatch used to live right through my grandmother's street. Colorado in the house. Pennsylvania in the house. California. Where's California? Share the link, everybody. Okay, I'm about to get started. So I'll be back in 60 seconds. Come on, share the link. Keep texting. Let me know where you're watching from. I'll be back in 60 seconds. All right, so tonight we talk about the Guyana Police Force. Welcome back to Conversation with Fred Burke. Wherever you're watching, I hope you're having a good time. In New York, it's still bright here. We just had a big Guyana. I think Guyana played a soccer match here in Brooklyn. Guyana, I think, played St. Kitts. So anybody who's watching, let me know who won that game. Guyana played St. Kitts today, soccer, in Brooklyn, in the Caribbean Cup. Let me know who won that match. I did not get to see that match, but I saw a lot of Guyanese going. Guyanese were heading to that match in droves. So somebody please text me, let me know who won that match. I hope Guyana. I'm not hearing anything, so Guyanese are quiet. So I hope Guyana won that match. Lots of my friends on that team there. All right. So, but before I go, I get to the Guyana Police Force. Did you guys see our friend was in China? According to Trump, China. Ali is in China. He's in China. And I have to note that I don't know what game Guyana is playing. I don't know what game Guyana is playing, but he was touring Ali, the installed president of Guyana. He was touring a company's facility in China, in China. I don't remember. It's not Beijing. It's I don't remember the name of the town. But the company, and he signed some agreement for the company to set up some research facility in Guyana. Right? And the company is sanctioned, has been sanctioned by the United States government, both by the Trump administration and by the Biden administration. So the Guyana government is basically adopting an anti-US kind of posture. At the same time, he is playing footsie with China. They're applying for a $12 billion loan from the US Exim Bank. Imagine that. I keep sharing the link, everybody. The PPP government is in China. The president and team and delegation, they're in China. And he's meeting with and signing MOUs and signing agreements with a company that's sanctioned by the US. And you know, under US law, if you're doing business with a company that's sanctioned by the US, then you can't do any business with the US. So I'm reading something here. I know that the Secretary of State said that it is US policy that this loan should be approved. But it is not US policy to just give Guyana billions of dollars, $12 billion. It has to be in keeping with American values. The conditions and terms will have to promote that. Also, I'm not sure how this is going to be reconciled. If they sign some agreement to do business with the company in China that was sanctioned by the US, I don't see how they could do business, how they're going to get a loan from the US government. But here, listen, that's not for me to work out. But I want to say that we in the diaspora are against that loan being signed. We are against the loan that the Guyana government has applied for from the US Exim Bank to fund this gas to show project. We are against it. We are against it without conditions to promote inclusive governance, to promote an inclusive growth of the economy, meaning everybody must benefit, and an inclusive democracy where everybody participates. This government has a policy of Black subjugation. They want to rule Black people. They want to have us under their submission and control, servitude. Straight out to Africa. Proud to be a Black man. Those who don't like it, put it in your pipe and smoke it. Proud to be a Black man. This one here. And I will always stand up for everybody, but particularly people of African descent. When in 2 days, we'll be celebrating our emancipation from servitude, emancipation from slavery, emancipation from colonialism. The indomitable slaves, and we are their descendants, and the slaves got independence not because of the generosity of the colonial masters. They fought for it. They fought, they rebelled. And in Guyana today, we are fighting the replacement of slavery, which is racism. That's what we're fighting. We're not fighting colonial masters. Colonial masters have been replaced by Bar Jagdeo and Orford Ali and the racists in the PPP government. And they've come with a new psychology, right? They figured this thing out, like, okay, we can't be racist directly. So what we will do, we will get the Black house slaves, the ones that we have selected from the yard and the plantation, the ones that we have selected, we will use them to carry out our racist policies to oppress the black people in Guyana. And who are some of those people? Clifford Hicken, he has always been a proxy for the slave masters in Guyana, proxy for the PPP. Robeson Ben. Those are black people who regret they're black. They're like Clarence Thomas. Right? You know, Justice Clarence Thomas. He rules against every black right in the Supreme Court. Every black right. He's like, take it away. Those black people don't deserve any rights. I am happily married to a white woman. And that's where I derived my power from. That's the house slaves. Mark Phillips. Keep sharing the link, everybody. Keep sharing the link. Share this link. This is an important message. We're going to unshackle them. Keep sharing the message. Keep sharing the link. Share it wide and far and vast. So every time the PP government gets into power, they use the Guyana police force to suppress people. And embedded in the Guyana police force are these almost permanent death squad members. Death squad members. They were literally in the death squad or affiliated and associated with death squad. But they're in different positions now. Right? But I want to make the observation, right, that every time, anytime I check around the world, whenever a dictatorship seizes power, gets into power, is installed in power, what's the first things they do? What are the first things they do? Seize control of the television and communications network of the country, and then they seize control of the security forces. Case in point, we just had a coup in Niger Republic, which is a country in Africa. The military seized power. They kicked out the democratically elected government, and they seized power. The general who says he's in charge, the first thing he did is set his men and seize control of the television station and the radio. That's how they get their message out. So when you think about the PPP government, think dictatorship, think coup, think power control, because that's what they are. They're not a democratically elected government as far as I'm concerned. I know the United States government recognizes them as a democratic government. I don't. They're not a legitimately elected government. The elections was marred with corruption, fraud, irregularities. And they blame it on Mingo. Like, you know, Mingo tried to change the numbers. So, you know, and the propaganda has taken hold. But nobody's not looking at the 49 ballot boxes that had no documents and all of that. So the first thing the PPP did, seize control of the communications network, seize control of the police force, security services. And how do they seize control of the security services? They put their own people in strategic positions. They know that they want to use the police force to rein in the black population, to control the black population, to subjugate the black population, to make the black population submitted to it, to them. So what they did, they can't do it directly. They can't put East Indian people everywhere. Then, like, this racism thing too blatant, right? It's going to be too much for their own people even. So like, let's put an anti-black person in charge of the security forces. Where is Robeson Ben? Oh yeah, Robeson Ben, he hates black people. He even hates himself because he's black. Put him in charge of the police force. So when he decides to use police powers to take away the rights and subjugate black people, they can't complain about racism because there's a black man doing it. Well, hell yeah, we're going to complain about racism because he's a house slave. He's acting on behalf of the PPP colonial masters. Straight up, plain and simple. He is a proxy for them. He can't think for himself. He himself is enslaved to the racists in the PPP. Then they have, oh, Nigel Happy, let's leave him there. He's a puppet. He can't think for himself. He's a damn fool. So they left Happy there. He was the next. Well, first of all, they moved Paul Williams. Paul Williams right now should be the police commissioner. Paul Williams is legitimately the acting police commissioner. But they moved him from there. They moved him. They couldn't try that with Paul Slow, right? But, you know, Paul Williams is a different man. He want peace. Let peace reign. So they sent him somewhere to set up in some back office somewhere, the COVID task force. COVID done long now. So I don't know what COVID task force does, but that's where they sent him as the last thing I know. Doing nothing. All this training, all this seniority, he's not doing anything. He's at the COVID task force. Right? Like, who is the next clown house slave Negro we could find? Oh, bring the killer, bring the killer, bring the killer, bring the killer. Call him, call him, call him. Let me get the man who is so dense that he's going to have to do everything we say. Find a man who cannot think for himself. Find a man who is a total clown. Find a man who's so weak, so insecure that he can have to do everything we say. Find a man who is 100% loyal and 100% loyal to us East Indian supremacists and 100% hateful of black people. Oh, bring Clifford Hicken, bring Hicken, bring Hicken, bring. That is the man, Hicken. Clifford Hicken. They installed him as a police commissioner. The man is the most unqualified, most ineligible, most unintelligible, most ignorant police commissioner or acting police commissioner in the history of policing in Guyana. Might as well just bring a constable off the street. Or maybe a common criminal off the street. They put somebody there who they could absolutely control. Has no ability to conduct independent thought. Takes political instructions, give them out, executes them. That's it. Simple. Them relay systems up in the brain don't work. Absolute clown. Actually, they work for something. They probably work for something else, you know? Absolute clown. Clifford Hicken. I noticed the opposition leader saying that the man is the most unqualified and he shouldn't be there. As a matter of fact, why is he still acting police commissioner? Because the president said that it was because of exigencies that he was appointed to act. Why they didn't have a judicial service commission, sorry, they didn't have a public service commission, so that the police service commission could not be properly constituted, all kind of rigmarole. So all of those commissions, even though, albeit they might be unlawfully appointed, that has to be tested in the court, but they're in place. For all intents and purposes, they're in place. So now, all of the instruments of state are aligned and constituted to allow for a police commissioner to be appointed, a proper qualified one, to be appointed for the consultations to take place with the Police Service Commission, with the Police Association, and with the opposition leader, and whomever else. There's no longer the necessity of government argument and all of these kinds of things. And you don't need to appoint an acting police commissioner for government to continue or for the police force to continue to be administered. You can act. Happy was acting. That's just an excuse to put their own people there. And then when you look throughout the Guyana police force, almost every division in every region is headed by an East Indian PPP. Except probably one, Georgetown, which is Division 4A. I'm not sure where else. CID headed by, as far as I'm concerned, a PPP, not a house. Well, I don't even know because I don't know what that is, but you have Karimbash at Suku, very questionable character. He was going to launch an investigation against me now because I say he's a questionable. He was facing a criminal investigation when he was appointed. Well, at least an internal investigation of an alleged crime. Brutus, who's the head of the admin, he was facing an investigation. Internal. Operations is headed by an East Indian. They control the entire police force. Division B, Division C, Division 4A, sorry, 4B. Western Marara. Oh, I think Region 5, I could be wrong, Region 5 might have somebody who's African Guyanese. And people argue, well, why is that important? It is important because the PPP believes in total control of everything in the country. Even sports. Share the link, everybody. They want to control everything. And why they're doing it? The PPP knows that under Barrett Jackdale, the racism was so overt and overbearing that even Freddie Kissoon wrote a long paper establishing how racist they are. At that point in time, they didn't have not one black ambassador. Not one. Not one black ambassador. And they put Roger Luncheon, another house Negro, they put a black man, Roger Luncheon, to say, no black person is qualified in Guyana at that time to be an ambassador. And some of the ambassadors they had around the world, they had no qualification, none. Absolutely no formal academic qualification, no formal international relations, diplomacy, foreign policy training, nothing. That's how contemptuous these racists are of black people. They put a black man to come out and say, no black person in Guyana was qualified to be an ambassador to represent the country. Well, they mean to represent the East Indian government. That's what they really meant, Black people can't represent the East Indian government. They're not qualified. What they lack? What qualifications they lack? Straight here. That was it. It's a straight here government, and they sent out Roger Luncheon to say, you gotta be a straight here man to represent this government. So black people aren't qualified because they ain't got no straight here. That's basically what it was. That was the only possible logical interpretation because I know some of them ain't black more than black people. Right? We in the emancipation celebration arena right now. We gotta talk truth to power. Them ain't got no brains than we. Them the who they in the government. Them no brains than we. Keep sharing the link, everybody. So basically they control the entire force. And they know that the African Guyanese population Basically, they are not going to sit by and allow racism again. So this time, what do you think they did? They tried to make the Guyana police force stronger, more powerful weapons, more powerful policing groups that they're giving weapons to. These all East Indian policing groups. That's an extension of the PPP, you know. That's a militia. The Guyana has two militias going on right now. Two. And actually, there's an intelligence report produced somewhere outside of Guyana. And I was able to get my hands on a part of that report. Which suggests, listen to this. This is an intelligence report, right, that was generated by a foreign government. And this is exactly what it says. Informant suggested that is a private company in Guyana operating a militia with the full knowledge and cooperation of the government. It is assessed that the company is using religion to recruit members of the group, which presents itself as a security company, but has more powerful weapons than the Guyana Police Force. And the group has collaborative initiatives with the security forces of Guyana. This is not me. This is a report by a foreign government. And it also says that part of this group operates between Guyana and Brazil. So, the PPP government has a company operating in Guyana under the guise of a security company, but it's really a militia. In the assessment of a foreign government, they operate like a militia. And here why it's believable, right? When the PPP was coming into power, they didn't trust the Guyana Police Force. And this is, everybody knows this. They didn't trust the Guyana people, they didn't trust the people in the Guyana Police Force. And the APNU government, in their lack of political experience, enabled this because they give most of these East Indian PPP supporters, their own companies give them firearm license, security service license. Some of them are firearm dealers. You tell me how many black companies in Guyana was given a firearm dealership license by the APNU government, a bunch of, anyway. Naive. They give all the guns and the permits and the license to the PPP supporters under the guise of security company. So they have a collaborative plan that when the black population gets out of hand, and if the security forces don't shape up to how they want, these guys gonna step in. The community, police community groups, and these private security forces. They're the ones that are gonna protect them. I'm not even making that up. That is a fact. That's the plan. But what is intriguing about this report, and y'all can challenge me all you want. Guyana Police Force could say whatever they want, put out whatever statement. This is fact. I'm reading from an intelligence report or intelligent assessment of Guyana. They have a militia operating under the guise of a security company which recruits people under the guise, sorry, which recruits people, let me get a correct language. The company uses religion to recruit members. So you think about it. What company has a majority people of one religion working as security guards, but training them in the interior and have them doing work between Guyana and Brazil? I don't know. I'm not in Guyana, I don't know, but I'm telling you, this is what I'm seeing in this report, in this assessment. You remember the death squads, how they operated? The PPP cabinet on the Bar Jack there operated those death squads. Don't let anybody fool you. The People's Progressive Party cabinet had full knowledge of the death squads. Certain business people in Guyana, East Indian PPP supporters, financed the death squad. The Minister of National Security, Home Affairs on the Bar Jack Dale was head of the death squad. They reported to him. A minister of Jagdale's government, Leslie Ramsamy, allegedly gave the government's authorization, a written authorization for the death squad to purchase and import intelligence, as they call them, eavesdropping equipment, which intelligence services use, or the US military, to track people. They imported that, and they used triangulation technology, and they used people's phone numbers to track them, and they allegedly killed them. That's how the death squad operated on the Bar Jack Dale. Killed over 1,400 people. No justice. And some of those people are currently in the Guyana police force in senior strategic positions. That's why the force is so corrupt. Because death squad members, what Bar Jack, this government did, is had a fusion of some members of the security services and the death squad. So the death squad had actually police and soldiers. I'm not making this up. The United States government presented that as evidence during Roger Khan's trial. I have those transcripts. The United States Justice Department prosecutors, they didn't even have to do that. Part of it was not even relevant to the case to convict Roger Khan, but they presented it because they wanted the world to know what Bar Jagdale's government was doing. Some of those death squad members are in the Guyana police force. Again, not me says so. The assessment says so. A foreign government assessment. And they name some of the people. They name them. I'm going to name them too. Not tonight. I'm going to name them too. Or I might name them tonight. I might. I'm going to throw some hints. The Guyana police force is corrupt from top to bottom. Corrupt from top to bottom. Let me read to you. Don't take my word for it. Let me read you what the United States Human Rights Report says. There remain a widespread public perception, they're talking about perception, of corruption involving officials at all levels and all branches of the government, including the judiciary and the police force. This is not Rick Burke. This is the United States government Human Rights Report for 2022 on Guyana. Then it went on to say this. This is a complete separate paragraph. Corruption by police officers was frequent. There's no speculation anymore. This is the United States government. Corruption by police officers was frequent. The United States government is saying corruption in the Guyana police force is frequent, pervasive, frequent. Not sometimes, frequent. It's a routine. They're corrupt at all levels. Even the judiciary. I ain't touching the judiciary yet. Not tonight's commentary, not tonight's program. Keep sharing the link. That's what the United States got. So don't come for me. I am quoting what the United States government in this instance says about corruption in the government and the Guyana police force. Now, the PUP is back into power, right? They came back into power in 2022. They placed all their strategic people. They placed all their people in strategic positions. CID, they bring back somebody who was removed. 2 people who were removed, including the crime chief and head of the major crime unit. They bring Hicken and put him there, superseded Paul Slow. They put their own people in strategic positions to control the force. And the entire national security posture of Guyana is not to protect the citizens, not to protect the country from Venezuela, not to ensure there's no rebellion by Black people and the political opposition. That's the entire national security posture. That's their imperative. That's the top priority of the PP government. I have documents that say that. That's their priority. The top priority of the PPP government is that Black people want to mash up the country because they lost the elections, and that's their intent. Not that racism is going to cause problems in the country. Not marginalization is going to cause people to rebel. No, Black people are intrinsically opposed to PPP rule. And they will rebel. And so we will have to get the most sophisticated police equipment to put down a revolution by Black people fighting against racism. That's their national security imperative. That's why they have Clifford Hicken there. That's why they have the head of the, was it Budu or Budram? The operations unit. That's why they have the crime chief there. The other reason they have them there is to protect them. All right, you don't believe me? Let's look at it. Nigel Darmla. Nigel Darmla was just accused of a brutal rape, brutal sodomy by a 16-year-old girl who they later pressured, and she retracted her comments or her report in the most idiotic way. Her recantation didn't even make sense. Had no logic to it. But I'm not going into that. But in addition to the rape allegation, he obstructed justice. He asked her to destroy the phone. He asked her to destroy evidence. He got a police senior officer, Superintendent Shiv Baran, who is the commanding officer in Region 2, to issue a statement, to have the young lady who accused Darmla of rape sign a statement saying that it is not true. Or they're trying to do some technical dance saying that she was talking specifically about something. The bottom line is that she was made influenced to sign a statement denying the allegation, which is obstruction. And it is clearly stipulated in the law Sexual Offences Act of 2010, that anybody who prevents a person from making a report commits obstruction. Both Dharmlal and Shiv Baran committed obstruction. And if you ask me, probably her parents as well, who all were present when this conspiracy to obstruct justice took place. Dharmlal was never charged. Never charged. Not even for the obstruction. You don't need a complaint from the witness for that. It was evident. But then former Minister David Patterson allegedly urinated in front of somebody's property. And the Guyana police force invested resources to investigate that, charged Patterson, immediately put him before the court. And by the way, hold on, back up. The DPP, Shalimar Ali Haq. You remember when the file for the Dharmlal rape case went to her? It took her over a week to send back the case, saying she needs more evidence. That was part of the plot to, cover up the whole thing. When the members of parliament, the opposition members of parliament, criticized her, she issued a statement saying her office gets files from police divisions all around the country. Many files, many files, hundreds and thousands, she said thousands of files. And so they have to be considered how they come in. And there are thousands of cases that they were looking at before. Now, David Patterson's case went to she one day, the next day she sent it back and said charge. But of course, David Patterson's a black man. Within one day, her office, her busy office, that is reviewing files, police files from all around the country, all divisions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 divisions. She was too busy. Her office was so overwhelmed with work, they could not attend to the Dharmlal file. And she would not be intimidated to drop everything else that she was doing and her office was doing to look at the Dharmlal file. It has to wait its turn. But David Patterson's urination, alleged public urination matter, was of such national importance. Maybe they were traumatized by the expose. I don't know. How dare that black man throw out his thing out there and urinate in front of us and traumatize us? That's a national security imperative. Must be prosecuted at once to spare the nation of further trauma. The DPP sent back the file in one day. Sorry, the next day, 24 hours. Came back the next day. Charge him. The man was before the court. I think so. At least, she said charge him. But here was the other partner. The police put David Patterson on $200,000 bail for public urination. $200,000 bail. Station bail. Station bail. The matter has not even gone to court. Station bail. So let's compare how David Patterson was treated with any other ordinary citizen. In 2011, I wrote about this. In 2011, then Magistrate Geeta Chandran Singh sorry, Gita Chandan, Edmund Chandan. Why are I calling Gita Singh? I know we got that. I'm sorry. Gita Edmund Chandan, who's now an opposition member of parliament and the shadow minister for national security, when she was a magistrate in 2010 in the Georgetown Magistrates Court, a man from Kitty appeared before her for public urination. This is a magistrate, not police bill. This is in the magistrate's court. She placed him on $7,000 bail. This is a magistrate, not station bail, magistrate court, which is like a surety that you return. $7,000 bail. After the trial, she found him guilty and she fined him $7,500. So all he had to do was come and pay another $500. And that was the fine. He already put down 7,000 for bail. David Patterson was placed on police bail for a fine, for a violation. It's not even misdemeanor. It's a violation. Just like spitting on the sidewalk or jaywalking or something like that. It's a violation. He was placed on $200,000 station bail on instructions from the PPP government. How do I know that? Okay. Patterson's attorney, Mr. Ronald Daniels, said on a statement he posted on his Facebook that when he protested this exorbitant amount, a senior police officer said he was taking instructions from another senior officer. When he spoke to that senior officer had taken instructions from them by higher up there. Government. My interpretation, not Mr. Daniels. I'm saying that because my sources said that people complained to somebody, the government and the police. And then the police got instructions to arrest David Patterson. That's how the police force is being run. Confirmation that the police took political instructions to pervert the court of justice and violate David Patterson's rights of equal protection under the law. Every citizen is entitled to, under the Constitution, treated equally. The ordinary man gets fined $7,500, and David Patterson gets to get placed on bail for $200,000. That's the PPP government using the Guyana police force to carry out political vendetta against Black people and their political enemies. Undisputable. Let them dispute that. Let the officer dispute that he did not tell Ronald Daniels that the directive to place David Patterson on $200,000 didn't come from higher up. Let them dispute that. Because Mr. Daniels is an officer of the court. That's the statement. Under his obligations as an officer of the court, to tell the truth, that's the statement that he issued. Guyana Police Force. Corruption. Now, let me say this. I wrote an article about this, I think on Thursday. From Thursday to now, I counted it today, this afternoon, 63 communication from sitting members of the Guyana Police Force at all levels, confirming to me that the force is so corrupt that they want to leave. confirming that the Guyana police force is so corrupt. And they're good people in the Guyana police force. You know why? When the Guyana police force is trying to frame me because they want to bring me home to kill me, so that Nanlal and Jagdeo and all the death squad people could kill me. And the folk at CID headquarters were trying to get people to make all kind of statements against me. And I'm going to do on Tuesday, I'm going to deal with that. 2 police officers came forward and provided information to the federal government here that was investigating that, about what they knew about what is going on there. 2 police officers with direct knowledge of what was going on provided information to the US authorities exposing the plot at CID. And they got police officers. But because of the nastiness, the corruption, the complete politicization of the Guyana police force, the Guyana police force is a symbol of oppression. Young people all over Guyana have been saying to me, from the time they see the Guyana police force uniform, it brings out an anger in them. And not even young people. Check across social media. The only people who probably like Guyana police are the East Indian supporters of the PPP. Now, when the government changed, you can hear, oh, we hate the Guyana police force. But the Guyana police force does not treat Black people the same way as they treat PPP East Indian supporters. Let's look at some. You remember how the police run from the East Indian supporters in Bat? Run! They got gun and they run. The people chasing them with cutlass. Why did they shoot them? One man was shot. He chopped up a police officer. The man was in hospital for weeks. He was shot and killed. But they had about 50 police officers running. But in Guyana, we say running. Gun. Run. Well, let's see how the Guyana police force treats Black people. That's undeniable. Oh, Black people protested? Okay, bring out the riot police. Black people are protested. Call out the riot police. Shoot them down. Just like they shot the protesters in Linden. And then lied to the Commission of Inquiry. But you know what? On a very serious note, the people in Guyana allow this to happen. The police cannot be more, the police is not more powerful than the people. The police is not more powerful than Clifford Hicken is an ordinary man. If 10,000 or 20,000 people go out on the streets, the police can't do nothing. And that's what needs to happen to demonstrate. You see what is happening in Israel? When black people in Guyana go grow some balls to do what the people in Israel are doing to fight autocracy, when the Guyana is going to grow some balls to do what the people in Egypt did, what the people around across the Arab world during the Arab Spring, when? Stop complaining. Like, oh, these people are something else by them, like black people. Do something about it. Stand up for your right. Go out on the streets and protest. That's your democratic right. Until you get what you want. Not supposed to want to shoot up two things in the air, that this a shoot all them out, everybody run. In this country, politicians go out on the streets to get arrested, to register that they're engaging in civil disobedience for a cause. We're in Emancipation Week celebration. We're celebrating black people and we're celebrating the victory over oppression. And the blueprint for how you deal with slave masters like the PPP, Barrett and them, it's etched in history. Our forefathers fought the revolution across the world to end slavery. These days, there's negotiated settlement on the international laws. Well, let's try that. Protest. Flood the streets, shut the country down, shut the towns down. And force people to the negotiating table. Force them to the negotiating table. So that your rights could be respected. So that the Guyana police force could stop killing black people, stop subjugating black people on behalf of the government. Stop using cybercrime laws to shut you down on behalf of the government. I have never seen an East Indian supporter of the PPP. Don't mind how they call black people dogs, hungry belly, whatever. Never have I seen any of them prosecuted under the cybercrime law. The Guyana police force is so corrupt. It is I don't want to say it. It should be disbanded. In Haiti, they did that. It is irreconcilable. There's no way you can reform the Guyana police force with these people in it. It cannot be reformed. It should be disbanded. These people, criminals, are embedded up and down the Guyana police force. It should be disbanded. And the people in Guyana should call for the Guyana police force to be disbanded. Sometimes you can't tell the difference between the common criminal on the street and members of the Guyana police force. The United States government said corruption is frequent. Corruption is frequent. There remain a widespread public perception of corruption involving officials of the Guyana police force. Corruption by police officers was frequent. The United States government said so. The people in Guyana, you have no justification not to call for a completely new law enforcement entity. The Guyana police force has gone to the dogs. Its image is in tatters. The people running it are unqualified clowns, dangerous people, dangerous puppets who just taking political instructions and carry them out against half the population of Guyana. The proxy for the PPP is the Guyana police force. They have shifted their tactic. They're not doing it themselves. You check everywhere to impose their supremacy. They're using black people. Who's the chief housing officer? I'm pretty sure it must be a black person, because what they're doing is giving their own people house lots throughout the country and shifting the population. So they bring in people, professionals or people from Barbados who want housing. They're bringing them and settle them in Region 4. They want to change the demographic in Region 4. Who they're doing it through? The utensil, the vehicle, check it, it's going to be a government agency headed by a black person. Guyana Police Force, the tool of oppression. When you see the uniform of the Guyana Police Force, don't think you're seeing a friend. It is your enemy. And I'm not singling out individual officers. I'm not attacking the individual officer. I'm attacking the leadership of the force. The leadership of the force has signed on to the PPP agenda to oppress black people, to suppress political dissent. That is the sole most important mission of the Guyana Police Force right now, and the entire security apparatus of Guyana. Suppress black resistance to racism. And the sooner you guys get it in your head and understand that's what's going on, and stop running to these people when they try to bribe you for votes and this and that, it's better you'll understand. This weekend, this week coming, focus on your ancestors. Focus on what they went through, some of the similar things. Our ancestor died so that we could be free, not to live under subjugation by a bunch of racists like Barry Jagdale, whose government killed the black people because we opposed their political philosophy of racism. That's what it is. That's what it is. And us here in the diaspora, we're gonna fight. There's a new ambassador coming to Guyana. I'm not sure how that's gonna play out, but I know this current one that's leaving condoned the PPP racism, never spoke out against it. And if you're not speaking out against it, therefore you have to support it. She spoke out about everything else under the previous government. Elections, this, that, constitution. Black people on the subjugation. Well, you know, traditionally, yeah, Sarah Lynch, she's complicit with what they're doing. She hasn't spoken out against it. They know what they're doing. And it has emboldened them. It has emboldened the PPP to be more racist. And it will only stop if there's resistance. It is only stop. You have a right to resist racism. The PPP doesn't have a right to be racist and to suppress you, oppress you. You don't have that right. And so far as they think they have the right, you definitely have the right to fight it back and to end it. So as we approach emancipation, my message to the black people in Guyana, unapologetically fight to end racism. There's no way in 2023, after 200 years of the abolition of slavery here, after how far we have come in Guyana, to go through this. After our foreparents fought and died in 18 whatever against slavery, we're going through this. In 1963, the slave rebellion was to end that. Later on, in 1830s, I think 1833, slavery was abolished. And I made an analogy today about the billy clubs. In this country, the billy club represents a symbol of white oppression. Martin Luther King, John Lewis, they were battered with billy clubs by racist white police officers. Billy clubs and dogs. That's how they used to fight black people that fought for civil rights. Look what the PPP is using against black people today. Billy clubs. Billy clubs. In this picture, you notice John Williams is on the ground, civil rights icon in America, being beaten by a billy club. They call them batons or whatever, but it's a billy club. In Guyana, they call them batons. Billy club. Beaten. Police officers beating citizens with clubs. Look again. In this photograph, you'll see former congressman died within the last 2 years, civil rights icon, beaten in Alabama, Selma, Alabama, by white police officers because they were crossing a bridge in protest for the denial of black rights to vote. In Guyana, protesters are protesting racism, their right to equality, and they're beaten by clubs, just like the black people were beaten in America by white police officers with billy clubs. Look again. You see John Lewis on the ground as a young student being beaten by white racist police officers with billy clubs. Then you have the agents of the PPP, those house slave police officers, beating and taking protesters away with billy clubs. You think about what our foreparents went through, right? In 1973, sorry, 1763, and all the way along until 1833. Or the 1830s, until slavery was abolished. This is what they fought, and for us, my generation and your generation, to be beaten with billy clubs and go through this? And you guys sit in Guyana and think that's acceptable? And Barjale could sit on his high horses. And finally, as I wrap up, select which black people must be leaders, select which black people must get money to celebrate emancipation. That's what they're doing. They got a whole lot of people who are compliant Negroes and met with them and say, here, we're giving you permission to celebrate Black emancipation. Oh, they're these racists. How dare these people tell us Black people in Guyana how we must celebrate emancipation and who must be the leaders to celebrate it? That's the same mentality the colonialists used to select the house slaves. That's the same mentality the colonialists used to select the house slaves. The PPP want to determine who would lead Black people in Guyana. Not ACDA, but some scatter Black people around the place who are loyal to them, who are bribable, who are corrupt, some of them, who they could use to go into communities, pay a little money, and try to influence other Black people. Right? They want to now condition your mind. Having used the Guyana police force against you, now condition your mind to say, well, okay, we authorize you to have a celebration of yourself. Not them Black people over there. Them Black people over there, no. They are independent-minded. They support the opposition. We don't support their rights. They don't have no rights under us. You Black people who are compliant, you could come in the house and you could slave around for us. You get to support, you get our support to celebrate yourself. That's the PPP's version of emancipation celebration. Not you Black people. Not the majority of you Black people. We want the compliant Negroes, the house slaves, the ones that would obey us, the ones that see us as gods, the ones that agree that we PPP East Indians are superior to Black people. We believe in supremacy. We must control the economy. We must control the businesses. We must control the oil money. We will just give you what we think you deserve. When you sit at our feet and you kiss it. As I close, I believe in what Eric Holder, the former Attorney General of the United States, says. When they go low, what? Anybody remember what Eric Holder said? Type it in the comments. Let me see if you remember what Eric Holder said. Nobody don't tell me when they go low, you go high. I believe that when they go low, right, but you kick them in the face. I'm quoting Eric Holder. I believe that. When they go low, you kick them in the face and you teach them you have rights to, you're a human being. Happy Emancipation, Guyana. Emancipate yourself. Stand up for your rights. Fight PPP racism. The blueprints on how to abolish the colonial mindset. They're in the annals of our history. Our foreparents fought and conquered slavery. You can conquer PPP racism. Check history. The blueprints are there. Have a good night, everybody.